Welcome to the Chtib and Zhang Show, episode 58. This episode, Super Bowl 56. A lot to talk about. We're going to talk about the championship game because we didn't get a chance to do that last week. We were talking NBA, Eric. So we'll talk championship game, Super Bowl 56, talk who we like, player props, bets, where to put your money, because, of course, you trust the Chtib and Zhang Show. But before we jump into that, we got to roll it. Roll it! Welcome back to the Chtib and Zhang Show, episode 58. Like we mentioned, Super Bowl 56. With us, the person on the bottom of your screen is Jack Artsy. If you've been watching the Chtib and Zhang Show, then you definitely watched an episode with Jack. I think it was last year's Super Bowl, Tampa, and
divisional round.
Divisional round, yes, and then who we thought we were going to go to the Super Bowl. But this episode, we asked Jack to come in, talk Super Bowl 56 with us, who he likes, who he's taking, his bets as well, and a lot of good stuff. So let's talk a little about the championship round, as I forgot to set my timer. I have no clue what the time's at, but the championship round, Eric, we didn't actually get a chance to talk about it last week because we were talking NBA trade deadline, but now we are talking Super Bowl. So let's get a little chat. 27-24 Chiefs, Bengals. Eric, I know we were both freaking out when we were on the phone when that was happening. 49ers, 17-20 Rams. We won't talk too much about it. Just, what surprised you at the game. A lot of interesting things happened. A lot of big plays. But Chiefs, Bengals. Eric, what was shocking you during the championship round? What shocked? I mean, a lot of stuff. This is some of the best football we've seen in our lives as young 20-year-olds. Give me your thoughts on the championship round.
I just find it crazy because, every time it's, in the clutch, it's Patrick Mahomes always comes in the clutch, right? I'm not going to lie. After the coin toss, you're probably oh, okay, we're fucked. Bills all over again, fuck the overtime rules, all this stuff. But then somehow the defense pulls up, and then Burrow comes through, and then you guys win the game, right? So no, I'm not gonna lie, it still doesn't make sense to me for you, especially as a Bengals fan. It probably doesn't really. It's still you still probably think you're in a dream right now.
I haven't been a Bengals fan, since whatever my youth or whatever. I've only recently hopped on a team. I'd say 2018. I'd probably been a fan. But yeah, this is surreal for me, but I can only imagine what it is for actual Cincinnati Bengals fans who've been years, even adults, years without a Super Bowl victory since, their last Super Bowl victory back in the 80s, I think it was, or something like that.
Without even making a playoffs. You guys haven't made or
win a playoff game.
Wow.
So definitely Patrick Mahomes, that surprised you, Eric. What about you, Jack? Between both games, obviously he's probably going to be talking Chiefs and Bengals, but what shocked you? What'd you like? What couldn't you understand?
Yeah, well, Chiefs Bengals, I was shocked that Patrick Mahomes disappointed so much on such a big stage. It's the first time I've ever seen him in a game on national TV where the whole world is watching, especially the playoffs. He's had some regular season games where he's looked here and there, especially earlier in the year when the Giants almost beat them. It's whatever, but he was really close. But I've never seen him look that just bad on a national stage where everyone's watching. It's a do or die game, win or go home. And he started that second half and he looked like Jackson. He didn't look like when you had to play quarterback. He looked like he should have been shaking his ass on the sidelines, and he shouldn't be playing football. He shouldn't be wearing equipment. So that was shocking to me. But I also think, regardless of how bad he was, the Bengals defense looked really good in the second half. Way better than I think they've looked at all in any of the playoffs up until now. And just that's something that I think people are not putting enough respect on. Other than Eli Apple, who's a bum and not a fan, everyone else on that Bengals defense is solid. Trey Hendrickson's a monster. BJ Hill, big body up the front. He makes a huge difference in the run game. They're just a very solid unit, and they don't often make glaring mistakes. And Joe Burrow is that guy, and he's able to thrive.
Yeah. That's you took the words out of my mouth. That's what I was going to say. The Bengals defense, even though Eric, you've been here with me all season long, I've been talking about this Bengals defense and how underrated it is. But man, talk about a defense surprising me. My own team, the Bengals defense, Eric, what they did to Patrick Mahomes, like you were saying, Jack, how they just made him look like an average QB in the league is astonishing. I knew the Bengals were a good second half team, but the way they came out against the Chiefs, I could have not expected that. And I was definitely shocked, but man, I was riding with the high, that's for sure. But that's exactly what the Bengals defense will have to do this coming Sunday versus the LA Rams, Super Bowl 56 in LA too. Rams get to play at home. Lucky them. Bengals versus Rams. Let's start with Jack. Jack, Bengals versus Rams, talking about that defense, talking about Joe Burrow. What's that team got to do to beat the Rams? Or if you like the Rams, and what do they got to do to beat the Bengals?
So I think if you were to think of this logically, and you were a person that just thought analytics and a computer guy and like didn't even think with your heart at all and thought with your brain, every single person in the world picks the Rams. All season, they've been the better team. They've had better, I don't even know what stats, but I think almost all of them they've had better than the Bengals. But there's a feeling with the Bengals. You watch the Bengals play, and there's just that fucking feeling where you're like excited and you want to cheer for them. I've never like cheered for the Bengals in my life. I have nothing against the Rams. I don't really have allegiances in this game, but I want to cheer for the Bengals so bad. And there's that magic that you always see in the playoffs, and it's just storybook endings. And I feel like we're in for one of those. But I still think the Bengals are going to need to do a lot to win this game. You know, with that being said, they're not. It's not going to be a cakewalk. They're playing the Rams. They're playing McVay in the playoffs. I think the running game, getting that established is huge, because if you can run against this Rams team, your offense can just, there's so much more to do. There's so many teams that play the Rams and they get boxed in where they have to play a passing only game because you have Aaron Donald and you have just that big front four that they don't, I find they don't disrupt runs in the backfield a lot, but they stuff runs more than anyone else in the league. They keep them 1 yard, 2 yard runs, and you can't win a football game doing that. So I think getting Joe Mixon established, getting the running game established early is huge for them. And we were talking about it before the show, but their pass rush. Everyone is talking about the Rams pass rush, right? Burrow got sacked 9 times against the Titans. The Bengals O-line is obviously not very good. It's the weakest part of their team.
Weakest right guard, I'd say, in the league. Rotation.
For sure. But so the Rams are going to get their sacks. The Rams are going to get their pressure on Burrow. But it's going to be very important that the Bengals get their pressure on Matt Stafford. He gets sacked quite often. He doesn't do extremely well under pressure. He's not amazing at using his legs. I'll talk more about that a bit later. But it's just, they're going to need to get that pressure. Trey Hendrickson's a monster. Had him on my fantasy team all season. GOAT. But it's just, they really need to get to Stafford and disrupt the backfield if they want to have a chance of keeping that offense limited.
Yeah. Eric, what about you? You pro Bengals or you pro Rams this coming Sunday?
Okay. This one's a tough one for me.
Okay, wait. Tell me who you want to win.
Okay.
And then tell me who you think is going to win. And explain your point.
So the thing is, it's hard for me to say. I'm not gonna lie, because there's a heart, the brain, the mind. There's a lot going on right now, and I've always been a Matthew Stafford fan, but I really love this Cinderella story that's happened. But it's hard for me to say. It's not really a Cinderella story, just because. Hey, like, remember when Kansas won it like 2 years ago? Like, that was just Patrick Mahomes winning it, and like his team is good. Yeah. And then here you have Joe Burrow. Like, his team is good too, but like the reason why we consider it like a Cinderella story is because Joe Burrow, like, obviously he was hyped up, but he wasn't supposed to be this good.
Yeah, he's in his second full year. First,
it's in his second
as a full starter.
Exactly. So that's why is this like the Eagles team that beat Tom Brady a couple years? Like, or are they that big of an underdog, or are they actually like an established team that people have just been sleeping on? You know, so I think it's a bit of both, but I still believe like Joe Burrow, man. The only reason like why I really want this team to win is because of Joe Burrow. This guy, the swagger on this guy, like, he just has this winning feeling around him. You know, he won at LSU, and the way he carries himself is just in the clutch. You know, you can count on Joe Burrow. I don't want to jinx anything, but he just has this feel where, like, you know how many times this guy gets sacked? You know how much pressure he has every single game, and he still finds a way to win. Like, there hasn't been a game where you can be like, oh, it's Joe Burrow's fault they lost. You know, like, almost never. Like, it's just remarkable what he's been able to do, you know, and how quickly he's been able to progress. But on the other side, you have Matthew Stafford, who I also really like, just because he used to play with Detroit Lions. He had 11 seasons of absolute horrendous stuff, right? Just literally, like, it can't get any worse than that. So
you're frozen again.
I do want to see him succeed. So that's why I'm a little iffy on both. But hey, I wouldn't mind seeing like both teams win. But obviously,
Eric, do you hear us? Do you hear us right now, Eric? Eric doesn't hear us right now. Oh, there you go. You were just frozen there a little, Eric. Your internet keep doing its thing, right? But yeah, I don't know. You got cut off a little there.
Okay.
But I'm not sure. But I'm gonna go on. Listen, I've been riding my Bengals, been taking them. They've been the underdogs every single matchup. I'm still gonna take them, obviously. I got him. I got Joe Burrow, some bets on him too. So of course I'm gonna be taking the Bengals here. The big question here, of course, Eric and Jack, is Jack mentioned a little, is this pass rush from the LA and the O-line of the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, look, I'm going to throw out some stats. This is the Rams pass rush. Aaron Donald has 12 and a half sacks. He will be going against the right tackle, he'll be going against our right tackle. Leonard Floyd has 9.5. He will be going against Jonah Williams, who's probably been the Bengals' best O lineman right now in the playoffs. And then Von Miller, who also has 9.5 sacks, he will be rotating with the right tackle as well. So yeah, you heard those sack numbers. You see how dangerous this pass rush can be, and how much they can just change a game by just those three guys. And so for me, like Jack said, it's going to be tough because Joe Mixon to establish a run game. There is a prop that we'll get to, but 67.5 rushing yards. That's the bet right now for Joe Mixon. And he has gone under these past two. Chiefs, he won 88, but he against the Titans, against the Raiders, he was below that number. And now with this pass rush, it's kind of hard to see if Joe Mixon can get a successful run game going. So that for me, it really comes down to the X factors, T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd. Those guys are going to have a huge game if the Bengals are going to want to win, because most likely Jalen Ramsey is going to be guarding Jamar Chase. It's probably going to be he's probably going to get double teamed too. But either way, he has one of the best cornerbacks on him. That means T. Higgins, a guy who got 100 yards against the Chiefs, is going to have to replicate that same type of game to take that double coverage off of Jamar. And then you can see in the second half, Jamar open up man on man. And that's where you can kind of exploit the Rams' second coverage. So Tyler Boyd, Joe Burrow talked about him, one of the best slot mans in the league. He is, in my opinion. And for those two, it's going to be crucial. There's going to be a lot of third and longs, I expect, because they tried to give Joe Mixon the ball on first down. It didn't really end up successful. They had a lot of third and longs, but Joe Burrow, like you said, Eric, bails them out. Either T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd giving the first down. We don't know if CJ Uzomah is going to be back. He says he's not missing this game. Biggest game of his life. He won't miss it. So that's going to be interesting to see. But yeah, Joe Mixon, those two for me, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd are going to be huge, because I don't know how this run game is going to be. I don't have a lot of faith in it, especially with three of these pass rush guys. Like Jack was saying, they stuff runs early. It's going to be hard for me to Joe Mixon have a big game running. I think he's going to get involved in the passing a little. And so that's where it comes down to Joe Burrow doing his thing. He's going to get pressured. I have no doubt he's going to overcome it like he's been doing in the playoffs. He's been getting pressured. The O-line hasn't been good against any of these matchups or anyone that they face. So I trust that. Hey, as long as he doesn't get sacked 9 times like he did in the Titans, for me, that's a chance to win, right? For me, that's a chance for them to win. So we have those two going head to head. And now LA, I have a little more stats here. LA, they got the third best pass rush in the playoffs right now. Titans had 11th, Raiders 21st, and the Chiefs 23rd. So that gives you a little idea of how good this LA pass rush is. But like I said, I got faith in Joe Burrow. I got faith in the wideouts in their offense, and I got faith in their defense. Their defense has been one of the stronger sides on the ball for me during the season. And they're a big second half team. If they can start off hot, the Bengals, get into that locker room, just cruise it out, I could see them winning this game. It's just pressuring, like Jack said, pressuring Stafford as well. Our pass rush has got to be good. And then, what do I call him? I throw into double coverage. That's my nickname for Matthew Stafford. Yeah. Let's see it happen again. He threw a game-ending interception to the 49ers, and they couldn't catch that ball. He's going to be able to do it again if you pressure him. So like Jack said, pressure Matthew Stafford. He will make mistakes. Mm-hmm. We've seen it. I'm not saying he's not a great quarterback. He is a great quarterback. He can throw dimes down the field to OBJ or Cooper Kupp. It might happen. The Bengals aren't so good covering against their best receiver in the playoffs, so maybe Cooper Kupp has a big game. But I don't know. I feel like Bengals, they find a way, Eric. They find a way in these playoffs, and Jack, they find a way. So I'm interested to see that. If anyone has anything else to say about stats, but go ahead.
I just find it interesting because I was listening to an interview with Jalen Ramsey, and he was talking about his matchup, obviously with Jamar Chase, because that's a hyped up matchup, right?
Yeah.
And he was just the way he was talking, it seemed very like he was like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna have that matchup, but we got something in store from them." You know, like because obviously you don't want to always match up 1v1 against Jamar Chase, right? Obviously. Because we know Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, right?
Yeah, and Jalen Ramsey struggled against Mike Evans against Tampa Bay. He struggled against their best wide receiver. Yeah. So, I don't know. We'll see.
So that's the thing.
Interesting fact on Jalen Ramsey. I was reading this today. A lot of people consider Jalen Ramsey to be this lockdown man-to-man corner, right? Jalen Ramsey actually, I think it was like 52 or 53% of his snaps, does not play man coverage. So most of the game, Jalen Ramsey isn't in man coverage. So and I think knowing McVay and knowing the way his weird, insane, crazy brain works, he's going to do everything he can in his power to where the Bengals don't even have a chance to win the game. He wants to coach a win. That's what McVay wants to do every game. He wants to coach a perfect game where the other team can't even think about winning. He has 4 15-minute drives and the game's over. And I think he's going to get creative trying to stop these Bengals wideouts because all three of them are dangerous, and he's going to have to do something different because if he just goes man-to-man, which I don't think he will, it's not going to work.
Exactly. It won't work. You're right about that. They got 5 guys, the Bengals. I keep saying it every year or every game. 5 guys. It's probably the most dangerous 5 guys in the league that you can find right now in offense. You know, you look at the Chiefs, you got McCole Hardman, and other guys who come up clutch when Tyreek and Travis aren't doing their thing, whatever. But the Bengals have legit 5 elite players at their respective positions that can make a huge play on a 3rd and long or something like that, or a huge play anywhere. Think of it, just find the open guy. But like you said about the drives, Jack, how McVay likes to eat up the time, especially especially that. If you want to eat a lot of time up, you got to have a good running game. There's a lot of question on Cam Akers. Will he be healthy enough to play this game? He's been huge for the LA Rams in the playoffs and their run game. Because, I don't know if, we've seen what happens when Stafford's relied on throwing the ball constantly, pass after pass. He'll throw an interception. He'll make a mistake. He'll get pressured, something. So that's where they have Cam Akers to help them rush up the field, get in the red zone. Then Matthew Stafford does his thing. Well, he's a question mark right now. Darrell Henderson Jr. is a question mark, but Sean McVay said there's a good chance he comes back in the game. So that's going to add a new dimension to their running game. So it's interesting. We don't know who is really going to lead this backfield yet for the Rams. If it's going to be Cam Akers, who's been great. Darrell Henderson Jr. has been great for the Rams too. He got injured in week 16. But there's question marks on both of them. So we'll see what happens with those 2 guys and the Rams. But that's a big part of their game, man, running the ball. They love to do that. That's the thing about the Bengals defense that worries me because they play a lot of zone coverage, and that's what they did against the Chiefs in the second half pretty much. The Chiefs didn't run the ball. They just kind of succumbed to the defensive coverage of the Bengals. They just said, okay, well, listen, I can't throw the ball anywhere. Patrick Mahomes can't throw the ball to Tyreek. The difference between these 2 teams is the Chiefs don't really like to run the ball. I mean, they ran the ball against the Bengals. They were successful. That's not really like what they like to do. The Rams have no problem running the ball. No problem handing off to Cam Akers or Darrell Henderson Jr. That's a huge part of their game to move upfield. So that's where I'm worried about the Bengals defense. They can't play zone all game. They're going to have to blitz it sometimes because if Cam Akers and Darrell Henderson are both healthy, let me tell you there's going to be a huge running component to the Rams offense for me. That's what I think. So let's get on with our player props, our bets. Where we're going to tell you where you should put your money. You don't have to, trust us, of course. But it's just helpful tips and on how to win some money or some bets. So why?
I just want to add this quick before you start.
Go ahead.
I just want to say.
I mean, if anyone has anything else to say about the matchup, please. We don't have to go into the bets yet.
No, it's just an introduction for the bet. Just know, obviously, we've been telling the fans, obviously, this is our input, right? But I've been noticing, Chtib, you've been getting a couple of these, right? Especially the matchup, the wins. If you think about it,
Bengals is a huge one, right?
Yeah, exactly. You've been getting all the Bengals one right, but even on the other side, the Rams, most of them, especially like those close games, you've been getting them right. So you just gotta give credit where credit is due.
Well, listen, I don't know if that stat's true. People would have to go back and watch it. I'm pretty sure I made some awful bets. I'm pretty sure I took the under of Bills and Chiefs. That's one I remember. That was a big one. I went down the under.
I had the over. I had the over.
I just said, listen, I think one of the defense going to step out. No defense was played that game. They just threw it out the window. But yeah, I guess like 49ers, I think I was wrong on all of their matchups there, except the Rams. I took the other opponent against the 49ers. They beat the Cowboys. They beat the freaking Packers. But yeah, I guess some of these over-under matchups I've been right on. So thanks for that. But let's keep that winning streak or probably losing streak alive here going forward with some player props. Probably the biggest place that money is going to be put on coming Super Bowl. Obviously, there's going to be money line, but really where people put their bets and parlays down are on these player props. And we have a lot of good player props for you guys. We're probably going to probably going to take some from each other's list because there's some good ones. But who's got a juicy player prop that they just want to tell the fans right now? Tell them what's a lock, what's so juicy. You got to look into this one. Does anyone have one?
I love this line. So this isn't a specific player prop, but it's a Super Bowl special on Bet365 for those of you that use the app. And I think Bet365 has lost their mind. I think they're handing out money with this bet. I think every single person in the world, even if you've never watched a football game before, should take this bet. I may put the biggest bet I've ever put on this bet because I'm that confident in this bet. The line, we've talked so much about the pass rush, right? It's like been our biggest talking point this episode is both teams pass rush. And Bet365 has the audacity to put the total sack line at 5.5.
That's
5.5 total sacks in the game. Yeah. And they're giving you more money right now if you take the over. So I have the over at 2.05 odds. So $2 wins $4.05. Those of you that use your odds differently.
Yeah.
But it's a lock. Like, I don't understand. I think the Rams could get 6 sacks on their own. I don't 100% think they will, but it's very much in the realm of possibility. And I think the Bengals could not get 6, but the Bengals could get 3 or 4 in their own domain. So this is a game where I think there's going to be 10, 11 sacks, and they have the line at 5.5. It's just no brainer. I'm taking it every single day of the week.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's definitely a good one. I'm going to bring it a little back down to earth, with one that might or might not hit, I think will probably hit most likely. This is a player prop you'll probably see everywhere because it's one that you should bet on. OBJ over 5.5 receptions in the game. That's at a plus 118. OBJ, look at the past games. He obviously has taken a huge role in the offense. Yes, Jack is wearing his jersey. Longtime Giants player, now gone, Beckham Jr. Look at his past. Look at his success in the playoffs. 6 catches versus the Bucks. 9 catches versus the 49ers. Since Robert Woods has gone down with that ACL, and it was ACL injury, right? MCL, something like that. Anyway, season-ending injury.
One of the knees.
One of the knees, one of the CLs, one of the ABCs. OBJ has slowly transitioned into this main focal point of this Rams offense. Him and Cooper Kupp are now a deadly 1-2 wideout duo. And I think OBJ is in the Super Bowl, the biggest game of his career. I think he's going to get targeted 5.5. Yeah, I think he might get the ball 9 times or something like that. Him and Cooper Kupp. So OBJ over 5.5. I think it's a lock. I think he's definitely going to get at least 6. So I'd cash in on that plus 118 right now.
Okay. I have a pretty interesting one. So mine is a field goal over 47.5 yards. So I think it can happen, especially in the Super Bowl, right? You most of the time you don't want to take that risk and you just kick it, especially with a nail gun too. He'll kick it from wherever,
Ask him where.
What's it? McPherson.
What's
it? McPherson.
He said he'd hit the gritty if the Bengals won the game. Just FYI. So
oh my God! If he wins the game with a field goal,
if you need another reason to bet Bengals money line, it's to see Evan McPherson do the gritty.
Yeah,
exactly. So I think what's the Rams? Is it Gray?
Yeah,
what's his name?
Matt Gay.
Matt Gay. I was gonna say Gray. Okay, yeah, I had to say okay.
2022. So you got to be careful.
Exactly. I wasn't sure. So, I've seen both these kickers. Like, I think this one can go over, especially in the close games. And I believe this is gonna be a really close game. And these field goals, you're gonna want to get these field goals, right? So I think one of these teams might be able to pull off a 47 and plus field goal.
I like that. I think if you're speaking about the Super Bowl, I know how good of a coach McVay is. Zach Taylor's up for Coach of the Year, but I really doubt we're going to see a lot of fourth and, they're going to go on it for fourth downs and stuff like that. I think most times, unless there's like, it's a big play in the game where, speaking of the context, whatever the context is, but I think at most teams don't want to end drives with not being able to put points on the board. If you have a chance to put points on the board, they're going to take every opportunity, especially in the Super Bowl. So yeah, that's a good one. Field kicks for me. Jack, any other good ones, or should I go?
Well, I love both of your guys' picks, and I actually got 2 picks like already written down before you guys said them that work really well with these. So I love, like Eric is saying, I love both kickers in this game a lot, and I totally agree with what you're saying, where we're not going to see 4th and 1, 4th and inches from field goal range. It's the Super Bowl, you put the points on the board, which is why I'm taking both teams to make a field goal of 34 yards plus in the game. So both kickers make a 35-yarder or more, settled the bet, 1.83 odds. Easy, light work.
Yeah.
Second one. Now this is where the juice comes in. At 9-1 odds, I have Odell Beckham Jr. to record the most receiving yards in the game of any player on either team. I don't think, like you were talking about, Robert Woods went down and Odell stepped up as the number 2 wide receiver in LA. Odell Beckham Jr. is not the wide receiver 2 in LA. He's like the wide receiver 1B. If you've been watching the Rams since Robert Woods went down, they don't go to Cup that much more than they go to Beckham. They're using them similarly, and they're using them both a lot. And I just think Beckham's a gamer. I've watched. I mean, I'd be lying if I told you there wasn't some emotional aspect to this pick. But at the same time, that's betting. You got to get emotional. And who doesn't like sitting on your TV, Super Bowl Sunday, and just wanting Odell to go off? There's nothing more fun. There's no better way to pay respect to the greatest catch of all time than to take this bet. Odell Beckham Jr., most receiving yards in the Super Bowl.
Wow. Yeah, that is definitely one to look out for. Speaking of receivers, I'm looking at the Cincinnati Bengals side, Eric. Over 65.5 receiving yards, over 5 receptions, under 115 for T. Higgins. I've talked about T. Higgins, how big of a game he's going to have. I think Sean McVay and the defense, they're going to be showing, I forget who the coordinator's name is, defensive coordinator for the Rams, but they're going to be showing double coverage for Jamar. They're not going to leave a man on man. You might think, oh, double coverage, that's too obvious. Zach Taylor's going to build around. No, it's not that obvious. They're going to double coverage. They're going to show double coverage because we've seen what Jamar Chase has done man on man. He has embarrassed some fools. You see that TD catch he had against the Chiefs where he leaps over the guy and cradles it pretty much. They will not leave Jamar Chase anywhere near the end zone, red zone area, whatever. They won't leave him one-on-one, even if it's Jalen Ramsey. I've seen him get burnt by Mike Evans in the playoffs. Trust me, Jamar Chase will burn him too if he does that same mistake. So I'm going to expect him to get double coverage and Joe Burrow to have to disperse the ball elsewhere. And that's where I think T. Higgins here is going to have a big game in the Super Bowl. So I'm taking over 65.5, over 5 receptions. The money line's not that great. You can't really make it's under 115. But I think it's most probable for T. Higgins to hit that. So yeah.
I have a player bet. It's gonna be very interesting because obviously it's 2 players you guys just talked about. So it's Odell Beckham or T. Higgins. So I want to kind of hear you guys debate about this one. So who will accumulate the most receiving yards, you guys think, between T. Higgins and Odell Beckham? Odell Beckham's a bit of a favorite, but not by that much. But in my opinion, it's tough to say because I feel like the Bengals might put a lot of focus on stopping Cooper Kupp, and then Odell will be able to shine a bit more. And then on the other side, maybe it might happen the same with Jamar Chase. But I don't know. T. Higgins last game had that 100-yard game plus game. That showed a lot, right? So, hey, I don't know. With T. Higgins as the underdog, this one's a close one.
Well, listen, go ahead, Jack.
Odell Beckham Jr. matched up against Eli Apple. That's all you should have to hear. And Odell Beckham Jr. That's it. There shouldn't be another rationale. It's Eli Apple matched up on Odell Beckham. How are you betting on anyone else? It's insane.
Fair.
Yep. Fair. Listen, I That is a great point. Eli Apple's been up and down this season. He's had some big moments. I will say he's had some big moments. He's definitely not the same player he was with the Giants. That Eli Apple was a bust. This is a different Eli Apple. He's a little bit more humble now. Playing with Cincinnati, yes. But listen, I'll give my points here. Listen, Jalen Ramsey's great, but I don't really like that Rams secondary after him. That kind of drops off for me. Mm-hmm. And so this is where I see T. Higgins, who, by the way, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, they live in Jamar Chase's shadow. T. Higgins is an elite wide receiver, still very young wide receiver, still one of the elites in the game. So listen, I'm going to throw stats 65. Well, that was a player prop I'm talking about. T. Higgins has at least 96 yards in his past 2 games and 6 in his past 9. So I think, listen, if there's any other bigger moment to do this game, it's Sunday in the Super Bowl. It depends how Sean McVay. Listen, he will be man on man, T. Higgins. He won't be double covered because the safety will be watching Jamar Chase. So I like T. Higgins, who's like 6'4", by the way. One of those tall wide receivers to have a big game. And listen, if it's more than Odell, it's more than Odell. I just think, the Bengals cornerbacks aren't the greatest. Eli Apple. Listen, I'm going to throw a player prop as I speak in here. Player prop. Marshawn Lynch, I don't know if you guys saw, he had his little thing with the NFL with the glass ball. He's doing his predictions, whatever, what he can see in the game. Anyway, I don't know if you saw it. Took the Bengals to win 24-21. But he also saw Eli Apple having a pick 6 interception happening in the playoffs. That's what he saw in his glass ball, whatever. So let me throw in a little player prop. Eli Apple under 0.5 interceptions, not even a pick 6, just Eli Apple to snag a ball plus 650. Mark it down in the books. Marshawn Lynch said a pick 6, so I had to include Eli Apple's over 0.5 interceptions here plus 650. Listen, will he get an interception?
I'll be taking the under.
Will he get an interception? We don't know. Matthew Stafford has thrown interceptions into double coverage. You just got to pray that Eli Apple is a part in that shebang or whatever. But yes, to the point of Jack, Odell will be probably going against Eli Apple. I'm not sure if it's Eli Apple, if it's Mike Hilton. I'm not sure who exactly is it going to be, but I can see T. Higgins have more yards than Odell for sure, just because of the fact that I think Odell looks like this much scarier threat in the eyes of the Rams than T. Higgins does in the eyes of in the eyes of the Bengals. Messed my words up there, but you guys know what I meant. So that's what I mean. I think T. Higgins, just even though he's elite, he's going to fly under the radar. He's going to be man on man, and he's going to get these passes, and you can have another 100-yard game or something like that. Or if not, he gets 80 yards, and Jamar Chase just finishes the game because he'll be on man coverage. But if he's hot, T. Higgins hot, you go with the hot receiver, right? So I don't know. I like T. Higgins having more than Odell. That's for sure. For sure. But yeah, keep it going with these. I have so many player props, man. I'm just going to run through them quickly. Not quickly, but you guys will. I'm just going to go through mine, then you guys jump in with yours. I got Joe Mixon. Actually, no, I'm not betting on that because, Juju vibes can't go against the Bengals. I got Burrow over 2.5 rushes plus 100 right now. He has two games out of his last 4. He has at least 5 carries. We're speaking of that pass rush, getting Burrow outside the pocket. I think that's going to force Burrow to rush potentially for a first down, but he's definitely going to rush the ball because there'll be coverage downfield. Aaron Donald's going to be his phase. Not saying he gets away from those guys, but there will be times where he can get out of the pocket and rush for 3 times at least in this game. I believe so. So there's that. This goes with Jack's 275.5 yards. I believe that was the bet, Joe Burrow. Yep. This goes alongside it over 36.5 attempts. That goes along with passing yards. That's also plus 100. He's hit that. He's eclipsed that 4 of his last 5 games. He's going to have to throw the ball. If Joe Mixon in this run game do not get established, believe Joe Burrow will have more than 36.5 attempts. That I can guarantee you. And then Burrow over 24.5 completions. That's at plus 105. He's gone that 3 of his last 5 games. He's eclipsed that. I'm all in on Joe Burrow right now. The guy has immense swagger and this cool vibe that's going on with him. I just think he's going to pull up in this game. So any Burrow over that you can see or cash in on, I recommend you doing that. Chase over 5.5 receptions, under 135. He's done that. He's had at least 6 receptions in his last 4 of his last 5 games. He's had at least 6 receptions. So Chase, like I said, he might get double coverage, but Bengals are a huge second half team. They'll find a way to get this man open, man on man. Trust me. And that's where Joe Burrow will be feeding my guy. And then Eli Apple over 0.5 interceptions. Cam Akers under 16.5 attempts. Cam Akers, he hasn't really eclipsed that, recently. Darrell Henderson Jr. coming back too. That's going to take attempts away from Cam Akers. And so 16.5, I think that's a lock as well. That's especially because it's minus 120. So the bettors even think, or the house even thinks it's going to happen. And then, I think those are all my player props I had. You guys can finish off, and if you have still left that haven't been mentioned, you think are juicy, worth a note of talking about, let me hear them. Eric, Jack.
I got 2 more here, maybe 3 actually. Let's see. So yeah, like you said, I like Burrow over 275.5. I think that bet, Bengals win, Rams win, whatever happens, I think that bet hits, because if the Bengals are down, they're going to throw. It's what they do. If the Bengals are up, they're going to throw. It's what they do. The Bengals throw the ball. And I think Joe Burrow in this game is not going to just sit down and die. I think he's really going to impress people.
Yep.
I also like this one a lot. So I was looking, I really like these player to record most receiving yards, player to record most rushing yards.
Yeah.
I went with a bit safer pick for the rushing yards. I'm taking Joe Mixon. So I don't think Joe Mixon's going to have that good of a game, which is why I'm staying away from his rushing yards under. I think he might be the game's leading rusher with under 67.5 yards.
Wow.
I really could see the Rams getting I don't want to bet on Akers because of his health concerns. I don't want to bet on Henderson because of his health concerns. You have 2 running backs that you can't fully trust are going to be 100% on one team. And they also like to run jet sweeps and get creative and do all sorts of things. And you have another team that runs a much more simple offense with one bell cow of a running back. Unless, who's their guy? It's not Samaj Perine anymore.
It is.
It is still him? Okay, yeah. So unless they start getting Samaj Perine involved, which I don't think they will, I think the value's there. It's 2.2 to 1 odds. He has the same odds as Akers, which is crazy to me because Akers is in a committee and he's in a committee. He's not there's 2 guys and 1 guy. It's math. I'm taking.
I like that.
What else? I think that was. Oh no, I had one more. This one's crazy. So we were talking about pass rush. We're talking about QBs having to escape the pass rush. You were talking about Burrow. So I got this one. This is a nice little special for you guys. 2-leg parlay, nice and simple. Joe Burrow over 11.5 rushing yards. Matthew Stafford over 5.5 rushing yards. I think both pass rushes are going to be all over these guys. And more than that pass rushes, they're forced to escape the pocket. They're forced to do this. They're forced to do that, yada, yada, yada. It's the Super Bowl. Nobody everyone in the history of the world that plays football, the final destination, what you want to do is win the Super Bowl. So, and both these quarterbacks, Burrow and Stafford, don't have Super Bowls, don't have a ton of, Burrow has no playoff experience. Stafford has about as much as Burrow.
Yeah.
They both want it bad. They both want the Super Bowl. And when you have a 3rd and 4 and you're scanning your options and everyone is covered, you're going to take off and you're going to dive headfirst into Aaron Donald to try to get that first down. Or you're going to do stuff because it's the Super Bowl that you're not doing in a regular season game. And a lot of that is putting your body on the line as a quarterback and running the ball. So I have both quarterbacks over for rushing. Simple. And I think that's all my bets. Oh, Eric, and of course. Oh, no, sorry. That's later. No, I'm good.
Eric, you got any left?
So, I have 2 pretty interesting ones. So we didn't really talk about this subject, but it's a little random, but the penalties. So for penalties, and I actually looked up these numbers. So for the first time in a while, I actually looked up some
Eric's
numbers.
doing research.
Improving here. So the bet is 4.5 for Cincinnati and 4.5 for Rams. I think from what I've seen, Cincinnati, you guys don't really get too many penalties.
Nope.
So last game against last game you guys got 4.
Yeah.
And then 6 against Tennessee and 7 against Las Vegas. So I think in this game you guys would probably go over, just because, especially against the Rams in the Super Bowl. I don't know. Do the refs tend? You think the refs tend to throw the flag more often, or a little more lenient.
Well,
That's what I'm thinking.
Well, listen, if there's a hold, if there's a grab, if there's a face mask, that's evidence. Sure. If there's a big pass interference call, they're gonna have to throw a flag, but they'll let the guys play, right? There won't be these like subtle, like, little shoulder check and blocking or illegal blocking from the back or something like that. I mean, so yeah, but Bengals are one of the least penalized teams in the playoffs. You did go over the stats that they had in their last few games. What's the bet? 4.5?
4.5.
4.5. Interesting. I don't know what, like, they could go over. They could get 5. I'd say the safe. Yeah. I'd say the safe bet's probably going with 5.
Okay.
If the Cincinnati Bengals are under 4.5, like, they have a great chance of winning this game if they're not taking penalties.
Exactly.
But yeah, that's a tough one. That's definitely a tough one.
And then for Rams last few games, so they got 2 against San Fran, 4 against Tampa, and 6 against Arizona. So I'm thinking I kind of want to take the under on this one, just because of the stats. And it's kind of weird for me because when I was looking up these numbers, I was expecting more because I know like teams only got the Dallas game, they had like a million penalties. Yeah. Like definitely threw off my it threw off my numbers in my head, and then didn't realize that was like one of the most penalized teams like in playoffs history, that game. So no, definitely interesting.
Listen, I'll say this: Bengals don't take many delayed game penalties like false starts or anything like that. I think the penalties they would take if they get are holding because of that pass rush, right? They probably will have to cheat a little and they'll get caught because there's 3 guys there that are dangerous as hell. And so that's where I think you'll see most of their penalties come from.
Okay. I have a last bet before we move on. Last one, super random, just going to throw this into the world in case it hits and like I can say I actually got it right, is I think the first touchdown that someone's going to get is Van Jefferson. Just throwing it out there. That's my feeling. I'm just throwing it out there.
Lock me in for Ben Skowronek.
Is Van Jefferson even playing?
I don't know, but Ben Skowronek is.
Well, Van Jefferson's on this thing, so
yes. I don't know.
Give me Van Jefferson.
That's if he's playing. I don't know if Van Jefferson's healthy. I put him in my injury list. I forget what it was, but he's in my injuries and doesn't have a question mark. So that's why I think it's not as good. We'll see with Van Jefferson. But let's move on now to our Super Bowl MVP. Who's going to have the biggest game of their career Sunday night. But before we get into that, let's jump in with some weird bets. We got 2 weird bets, obviously, every year. We got a coin flip, and then we got a Gatorade color.
Yeah.
So quickly, I mean, you can't make an analysis on that. Heads or tails, and what color is your Gatorade? Jack, let's go with you.
Tails never fails. Simple. Done. Lock. Next, Gatorade color. This one you can really analyze. Okay, so Rams was blue. Rams are wearing white. Primary color is blue, though. Bengals are wearing orange. Blue and orange, I think, eliminate them both. That's what they want you to think. Wrap them.
Okay.
Yeah. I think red, get out of here. Red is like a dessert. You can't drink red and go out there and perform.
Yeah. That's fair.
I've been going back and forth between yellow and purple all day. It's yellow or purple. I think last year was purple. I'm going yellow. I'm going with a little bit.
Was last year purple or last year blue?
No, it was blue. I just checked.
Last year was blue?
Yeah.
You know what? Then I'm changing my mind. I'm going purple. I think the Bayou Bengals might show some love to LSU.
Yeah.
Let's go purple.
I didn't think of the LSU connection. Eric.
Oh, okay. So I don't have like a cool slogan like Jack has with the tail never fails, but I'll go with heads just because. Heads. And then for the Gatorade color, I feel like last year was blue, and I don't know, maybe everyone's gonna be like, oh, I don't want to bet on blue because it was what it was last year and it was a huge curveball. So maybe actually no, I feel like blue's the bet's not gonna be good on blue. The bet's not gonna be good on blue.
That's what they want you to
bad value.
The bad value. Is green a thing now? Is a green Gatorade a thing or pink? Let me throw pink in there.
I'll personally give you $10 if it's green.
If it's pink, like even if it's pink, I haven't seen a pink Gatorade since I don't know.
I feel like I've seen a pink Gatorade, so I'll throw pink in there.
Okay.
A little curveball.
Who's hammering water?
Yeah. Oh my God. I'm gonna go tails as well. And then I'm gonna go. I like Jack's analysis was actually so in depth that like it's
very
got me
in-depth.
thinking.
I've been thinking about this one.
Oh my God. Oh.
It also depends on which team wins, right?
Yeah, exactly. Too. What are the odds they just double down and go blue again? You know, that's the thing. Throw everyone off and just no. But that's such a pissy way to like.
But like, what color? What color you think Cincinnati's gonna go, and what color you think Rams are gonna go?
But that's it. You don't want to like think like what they think because then you're just gonna get. I'm gonna go with the yellow. I'm gonna go with
last
yellow.
Year, yellow. Last year the Bucks won and it was blue. There was no correlation.
No red, no. You know, it's weird. So I'm gonna go with blue or yellow tails. And now let's talk about our Super Bowl MVP. I have a few guys who I like. It doesn't have to be one guy necessarily. You can say who you think is going to win, but then I have a few other bets that are, great value purpose bets, but guys who can very much win the Super Bowl MVP. So Jack, why don't you start off with your MVP list, who you think is going to win, who you like as well,
I think the Super Bowl MVP is a stupid rigged award and it's a formality. I think it's the winning quarterback is winning this year for sure. Yeah. It's like, the only time that doesn't happen is when the quarterback already has one and there's a game where they don't show up, right? Like you look at the one where Edelman won, Pats against
Von Miller.
Von Miller won in a game. Didn't they win like 48-3? That
quarterback was a no-show. It was all defense.
Right. That was the game Peyton Manning got carried. Yeah. Yes. So unless the quarterback does nothing and a defense fully carries, or the quarterback has like 4 already, like the Brady examples, it's always the winning team's quarterback. And both of these quarterbacks, the script is that they did it, right? When the Rams win, the script is the Rams went out, they got Matthew Stafford, they gave up a bunch for him, but it was worth it. And he won them the Super Bowl. Your Super Bowl MVP, Matthew Stafford. And if the Bengals win, it is the Bengals went out, they took Joe Burrow, rookie sensation, lit up the league, came on storm. No one expected this in the playoffs. Cinderella story. The greatest upset since the 2007 and 11 New York Giants. Joe Burrow. So I just think it's one of the 2 QBs, but I'm going to take Burrow.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'll go next because mine's as well Joe Burrow. Like, if you honestly believe the Bengals are winning this game, then you should believe Joe Burrow wholeheartedly in your heart's going to be the MVP, and that's just an easy bet. It goes along with the bet you made for the Bengals winning. So I feel like it goes 1-1. Jack's right about the quarterback thing, but actually, Eric, let me hear your guy so I don't say it.
Okay, so I'm looking at both sides a bit because I'm still undecided on who I think is going to win the game. Mm-hmm. So obviously, I want to go with both QBs. But what's interesting too is I kind of thought about this. I don't think Cooper Kupp would be able to win it even if Rams win it, just on the fact that if he gets a bunch of yards, it means Matthew Stafford's having a good game. And same thing with Jamar Chase on the other side. So unless it's a very defensive game and like somehow Aaron Donald wins or something, like but I'll say Matthew Stafford or Joe Burrow.
So Matthew Stafford, Joe Burrow for you. Interesting bets for anyone who thinks it's going to be a defensive-minded game and the defense is going to win them this game. Aaron Donald's at a plus 1,000 right now to win Super Bowl MVP, and Von Miller is at a plus 3,500 to win Super Bowl MVP, which he's already done, but it'd be really, really hard for him to replicate that. That game he had against Carolina and Cam Newton, that was a huge game. Kupp's at a plus 600. But like you said, Eric, that's going to go with Matthew Stafford. Most likely they're going to be looking at that. So yeah, Jack hit the nail on the gun, I think, with the storylines about getting Matthew Stafford. You trade away your whole future for him and Jalen Ramsey. And if if Rams win, he will be the MVP. Same thing with Burrow, your young stud quarterback will win. So yeah, most likely those two are where your money should line. And depending on who you think is going to win this game, that's where you should make your bet. It's that simple as that. But if you like defense or you like defensive linemen, if you love that and you eat it all up, Aaron Donald, Von Miller are great bets to look at to maximize some profit. But if anyone has some final words on the Super Bowl matchup, I think that's been it for this episode of the Chtib and Zhang Show. We want to thank Jack for joining us. Yep, you'll for sure be on next time if we're talking football or big game or anything like that. But yeah, thank you for watching or listening on Spotify or watching here on YouTube with us on Chtib and Zhang. It's been episode 58. Man, Eric, we didn't get a chance to talk about UFC 271. Quickly, Eric, Adesanya or Robert Whittaker?
Okay, this one's really good. Give me Adesanya. No, give me Whittaker. Change it up. Give me Whittaker and give me Derek Lewis.
Oh, Derek Lewis and Whittaker. I'm sticking with the champ, Adesanya. Jack, Adesanya, Whittaker.
Give me Adesanya and Tui.
Oh,
I want to see a Chewy. I want to see a Chewy.
Okay,
I
want to
want
see
to
a
see a Chewy.
All right, that's
Okay.
been it for the Chtib and Zhang show. We'll see you guys in the next episode. Roll the outro.